seemingly normal morning ended with a gunshot and a lie no one could believe. Kendall Hawk claimed his fiancée shot herself, but the evidence tells a very different story. In this video, witness a gripping interrogation as every lie slowly crumbles under pressure. What really happened in that living room? Don't miss the intense moments, the psychological unraveling, and the final truth that left the room in silence. Hit subscribe now so you never miss our most compelling crime breakdowns and get access to exclusive content just for our subscribers.
Can I ask a question?
What's that?
It's my wife.
No, she is not. Can I help you out? No, sir. You have blood all over your clothing. I'm going to help you out.
Did I purposely kill my wife? Did I intentionally shoot my wife?
That morning, a gunshot shattered the silence. A pregnant woman collapsed while folding laundry. No one knew what had happened.
That 911 call is gut-wrenching. Kendall Hawk's voice cracks, but something feels off, like he's already building a story. A pregnant woman folding laundry, shot dead, and he's the only one there. This case is a storm of grief, lies, and broken families. Those kids with CPS, Jelly's blood on the porch, it's a tragedy you can't unsee. As we dive into this interrogation, watch Hawk's words twist. He's clutching that wedding ring like it's proof of love, but the evidence screams something darker. Let's unravel this mess together and see how his story holds up against the truth.
All right. Mr. Hawk, I'm Detective House. This is Detective Geiger. Okay? We want to talk to you about what happened tonight, all right? Before we do, we're going to put a little bit of stuff here on the record. This room is audio and video recorded. There's a microphone right here. There's a camera right there in the corner, okay?
I don't care about none of it.
Okay. Well, today's date is Monday, January 11th, 2021. The time is now 7:54 p.m. All right, Mr. Hawk. Again, what we're going to talk to you about is the shooting that happened out there at 310 Pleasant, okay? Have you ever had your rights read to you before?
Yeah.
Okay. You ever had them read to you on a form like this? A written form?
Yeah, I mean, I know I've had them read to me.
Okay, we're going to go over them right now.
Can I ask a question?
What's that?
It's my wife.
No, she is not. I need you to have a seat up here in this chair when you talk about what happened, okay?
Amid sobs and chaos, Hawk clung to a wedding ring like it was the last piece of memory. But nothing was romantic. Only pain and blood were left behind.
Can I help you out? No, sir. You have blood all over your clothing. I'm not going to help you out.
I'm sorry.
You're all right.
God. Oh, God. Oh, God. go on.
You sit that down.
It's my wedding ring. It's all I have.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Hawk, is your last name spelled H-O-C-K?
Yeah.
And your first name is Kendall, Kendall?
Yeah.
Your middle name is Lee?
Lee.
Is your 8/14/96?
Yeah. No.
Are you currently living at the house here at 310 Pleasant?
Yes. We bought the house together.
Is the zip code over there 03?
Yeah.
And what's the best phone number for you, sir?
937-403-0441.
Okay, Mr. Hawk. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about what happened tonight, okay?
Yeah.
We don't know what happened. I know, I listened to the 911 call. You told the dispatcher that she had picked up a gun and accidentally shot herself, okay? But I do know that you have a little bit of a history, and there's weapons in the house. So I want you to understand your rights before we talk to you about what happened, okay?
Yeah.
If you look at this page, in the top right corner, it says your name, social security number, date of birth. That's today's date, time and location, and then your address and phone number. Go down the page, it says your rights. You're being interviewed in regards to the crime of, and it's a shooting that we're investigating, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have any problem reading or writing?
No.
Is English your first language?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you graduate high school?
I never went to high school. I got my GED and then I did some college.
Okay. All right. Follow down the page here. It says, before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. If you would, sir, to demonstrate you have no problem reading, go ahead and read number 1 out loud. Just number 1.
You have the right to remain silent.
As the detective read him his Miranda rights, Hawk nodded quietly. Every line was a question mark. Was he about to tell the truth or hide it deeper?
You do not have to make any statements or answer any questions.
You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. If you would, take the pen. And put your initials next to the number 1, just showing that you understand it. And you can hold on to the pen because you're going to initial the other ones. Okay, just right there next to number 1. All right. I'm going to read the next ones, okay?
Yeah.
Number 2 says, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, put your initials next to number 2. Number 3 says you have a right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and to have a lawyer with you during questioning. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, put your initials next to number 3. If I can, just speak up to make sure that everything you say is being recorded, okay?
Yeah.
And that way there's no misunderstandings.
I understand.
Okay. Number 4 says this, if you do not have the money to hire a lawyer appointed by the court, or a lawyer from the public defender's office will be provided to you before and during questioning without any cost to you. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, put your initials next to number 4. And number 5 says if you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, put your initials next to number 5.
Hawk began talking about Angelica, Jelly as he called her. A 2-year relationship, several kids, and a love that looked like a family from the outside, but inside, it was a storm.
Do you prefer Kindle or do you go by anything else?
I just got my Kendall.
Okay. Kendall, start off, just tell me a little bit about Angelica. How long have you and her been together?
Over a year, going on 2 years.
For 1 year, going on 2? How'd you guys meet?
I've known her my whole life. She was one of my sister's best friends growing up.
What's your sister's name?
Christina Robinson.
Does Christina still live here locally?
No, she's in prison.
Okay. What's she in prison for?
For drugs.
Drugs. Does Angelica go by any other names?
Yeah, she goes by Jelly.
Jelly?
Jelly.
Is that what you usually call her?
Yeah.
Now, she has children, correct?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any children together?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. How many children do you guys have together?
One.
One?
The rest of them call me Daddy, but we have one that's ours.
Okay. And how old is that child?
She's under a year old.
Okay. What's her name?
Stella Hawk. Stella Leanna Hawk.
And then you know Stella's birthday?
I'm gonna say it's 2/27/20.
And where does Stella live right now?
All the children are with CPS.
How many other children does she have?
4.
Do you know their names and ages?
Yeah.
What are their names and ages?
Yeah. There's Dominic and Connor. Those are the twins.
Okay.
They're boys.
Is it O-R or E-R? For Connor?
Yeah, it's
C-O-N-N.
CONNOR.
Okay. You know how old they are?
They're both 4. They're twins.
Okay.
I don't remember their exact birthdays.
That's fine. Do you know what last name they go by?
Rowe. ROWE.
Okay. What about the other 2 children?
They got different last names. It's Bonnie.
What is it?
Bonnie and Bonnie.
Okay.
BONNIE.
You know Bonnie's last name?
Yeah, it's Keaton. KEETON.
Okay. And how old is Bonnie?
I would say she's 8.
He named each child, listing their ages and different last names. A broken family, each life a chapter left unfinished, and CPS now the only safeguard they had.
7 or 8.
Okay.
I want to say 8.
Mm-hmm. And what about the other child?
It's Jennifer Keaton.
How old is Jennifer?
She's 9.
You say all of those children are in custody of CPS?
Yeah.
How long have they been in custody of CPS?
Just a couple months.
Okay. What's going on with you all that the children are with CPS?
A lady came out to the house and she had asked if we would let the kids come out onto the porch, and seeing their ages and that they're boys and girls, the lady had asked, hold on, I gotta catch my breath. The lady had asked if we would let the kids come outside onto the porch and for her to be able to look for bruises on their, like under their shirts and stuff. And I told the lady that sent a red flag for me because she was asking for us to have our children come out in the cold and take their shirts off. Mm-hmm. And I felt like she was a pedophile and that anybody could make the CPS badge that she had one.
Okay.
So she left. The next time she came back, before she had left the first time, I said that if you are with CPS, to have a different caseworker come out. And the same lady came back out. Nobody new ever came. So we had never had a phone call from CPS or nothing. I didn't believe the lady worked through CPS, and Jelly didn't want her as the caseworker if she did, because she was asking the kids to come outside and take their shirts off in broad daylight.
Okay. Did she bring law enforcement with her or anything when she came to the house?
She only brought law enforcement the day that she came to take the kids.
To remove the children?
Yeah.
All right. How long have you guys lived there on Pleasant?
I got out of prison in March, and we bought the house whatever month comes after March.
Okay. How long were you in prison?
6 months.
What was that for?
A gun charge that I had got back in 15.
Who was actually buying the house? Was both of you buying the house together, or
I was buying it for her.
you were buying it for her?
Yeah, I had put it in her name, and the only reason my name wasn't on the deed was because I didn't have an ID.
Hawk once asked to go to prison to clear his record. But was that true repentance, or just preparation for something darker he had planned down the road?
Who lives in the other half of the double?
My mother and my grandmother.
That's your mother?
Yeah.
There's a female that's on the 911 call that had come out on the porch. Is that your mother?
That's my grandma.
That's your grandmother?
Yeah.
What's your mother's name?
Noelle
What's her last name?
Robinson.
And what's your grandmother's name?
Judy
What's her last name?
Robinson.
They live in the 308 half.
Yeah.
How long have they lived there?
Since we moved in.
So you guys all kind of moved in together at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah, when I caught my case years ago, and I was doing probation, and my probation limited my business because I flip houses and cars for a living. And when me and her had gotten together, I wanted to be able to not have to benefit or not have to drag her life down by me being held back by being on probation. So I told my PO to go ahead and send me up to finish me up so that I could be done on papers and I could go on with my business. So when I told my PO to send me to prison so that I could be done with probation, my mom and my grandmother moved in with Angelica at her previous address, which was 30 South Jersey, where me and her had lived for a little over a year. When I went to prison, my mom and grandmother moved in with her, and then when I got out of prison on March 10th or March 11th, she had already gotten her income tax for the previous year, so we used that money to go towards buying the next house. We bought the double so that my family wasn't all in the same side of the house as us.
Okay. All right. What's you and Jelly, what's your guys' relationship been like? How long have you guys actually been together? You said you've known her your entire life.
I've known her my entire life, and we've been together, I would say, right around 2 years.
Okay.
We've messed around on and off over the years, but we've actually lived together for the last 2 years.
Hawk and Jelly's 2-year relationship wasn't as calm as he claimed.
Hearing Hawk talk about Jelly and their kids hits hard. He paints this picture of a loving family, but CPS taking the kids tells a different story. A house full of guns, drugs, and chaos. How is that love? His calm voice feels like a mask hiding something ugly. Those kids, calling him daddy, deserved better than a home where a .357 was left lying around. The detectives are circling, picking at his story, and you can feel the cracks forming. Jelly's life was more than a footnote in his excuses. Let's see how he explains the unexplainable as the evidence starts piling up.
You guys have any issues, any problems? You guys fight a lot?
We have small arguments about her job, and that's under the circumstance that she works harder than what she was paid for.
What does she do?
She was at Burger King as a crew leader, but she pulled every responsibility as the manager and then some. The only thing we would ever argue about would be the fact that I'd tell her, like, you deserve better than what they pay you. Other than that, there wasn't no arguments.
Is there any type of domestic violence history in the past? Anything?
No.
Nothing that would show up at all?
No.
Tell me what happened today. What was going on with you guys today?
Well, we had woke up. Yeah, I want to say it was around 3:30 or so. We'd woke up, was cleaning the house a little bit. I went to go upstairs and go take a shower. As soon as I turned my water on, she came up there and blew it up. So I ended up going next door.
What do you mean? What do you mean by she blew it up?
She went up there, and as soon as I went to get in the shower, she went upstairs and took a shit.
Okay.
Kind of ran me out of the bathroom.
Okay.
So I went next door, and I went to the shower over there. And
when you say next door, you went over to your mom's, the other half?
Yeah, I went over to the other half of the double, and I took a shower. And I went back home on to our side, and she had already started doing the laundry. She was in the basement, and she was doing the laundry, and then I went up. I was upstairs. I yelled for her and asked her if she wanted anything to eat because I was getting ready to leave, and she told me to hold on. She was coming upstairs.
Where were you headed to?
I was getting ready to go to McDonald's and get something.
Okay.
Because we usually get a frappe every day. It's kind of the one thing that I was able to do for her that she couldn't do anyways. So she had told me to hold on, that she wanted to go with me. So I was waiting a minute. I'd literally just lit a cigarette, and she said she had to get dressed. But she started to pick all the blankets and stuff up because we was sleeping in the living room. We was up. And I guess we both passed out, but we sleep upstairs because that's where the TV works.
You talking about, when you say upstairs, you mean like the living room?
In the living room.
Okay.
Because our bed's in the basement.
Okay.
And she wanted to get the floor cleaned up, and we had checked the emails because the caseworker, and we had found out that he wasn't going to be at our visit, but we was still going to get our visit on Wednesday. And then she had started pretty much grabbing all the stuff off the couch from where I was asleep and where she was asleep next to me.
Which couch is that? From the living room door, you have the couch on the left wall and couch on the right wall.
If you're going in our front door, it was on the right wall.
Okay. So it'd be against the wall that separates your house and your mom's house?
Yeah, the dividing wall. And she was grabbing all the blankets and stuff up from right there.
The fatal moment came as Jelly was gathering blankets in the living room. A sudden bang. Hawk turned. The gun lay in the folds, and she had already collapsed.
And you heard boom. And I was at the front door. I turned around, and she'd already dropped the blankets back down. And that was when I'd seen the gun sitting in the blanket. And if you look across the living room, there was the gun case that had 3 tattoo guns in it, which they were cut out in the foam, was the 3 tattoo guns, but she had the case that the Magnum went it, the 357. Yeah, I guess we had it out last night or fell asleep with it out. I thought it was in the case, and apparently she did too. The case was on the couch by the front door.
So in that plastic gun case, because I was at your house just momentarily.
Yeah.
On the couch that's against the east wall or the left wall, there was a hard plastic gun case
Yeah.
that has like, I think, a lime green lock on it
It
or
still
something.
had the lock on it.
Okay. You're saying that has tattoo guns in it?
Yeah. If you open it up, it's foam that's kind of like this.
Yeah.
But it's.
You say it's cut out for the guns to lay in?
Well, it's the wavy kind.
Okay, I was talking about,
But it had a cutout for 1, 2, and 3 tattoo guns.
Mm-hmm.
But when we bought the 357, it fit in there.
With the tattoo guns also?
Yeah.
It would still fit in there?
It would still fit in there.
Okay.
Well, the only thing I can think is we had forgot to put it in there or something. But when she went to start picking up the blankets and stuff, that was when I heard it. And she seemed okay. She turned around and looked at me. And that was when I seen it. She started coming towards me, and I grabbed her, and I put my hand over her shoulder, and I looked at her back, and at the time I couldn't make out if she was bleeding out of the backside or not, but she wanted to start going out the front door, and I was trying to hold on to her, and I couldn't dial out fast enough. I couldn't get the front dial out and keep up with her, and she buckled on the front porch, and that was when I went over and I got on top of her and I put my hand down on her and I hold it and I just kept telling her to breathe, and that was when I finally got the phone to unlock because our lock pattern. I finally got it to unlock and call out to 911, and I was sitting there. And she was still breathing just rough, and all I could do was sit there trying to hold the pressure on her.
In panic, Hawk tried to hold on to Jelly's final breaths, but it was too late. The 911 call echoed through gasps and blood pooling on the porch floor.
Then it took a second. I ran next door to my grandma's porch, and I slammed the door open, and I screamed for my grandma to just please come help, please come help. And went back to Jelly, and I sat there until the cops showed up.
So you mentioned the 357. You said you may have had it out the night before or fell asleep with it. Tell me about why the gun was out.
We had just bought it.
Just bought it when?
Within the last 24 hours.
Where'd you get it at?
From one of her co-workers.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Who's that?
I don't know his last name. His first name's Adrian. And I don't even care if he gets in trouble for this. At this point, I done lost my...
So Adrian works at Burger King?
Yeah, it's her manager.
Which Burger King are we talking about?
On Brown Street.
Okay.
The way the system, like the government has been, you know, we've been lightweight stockpiling on firearms
Okay.
and so on, just in case it was ever needed. And she always said it's better to be safe than sorry. Long barrel, 6 shots.
Have you ever fired it before?
Once, next door, I shot the backyard of the neighbors.
When was that?
When we first bought it and got home.
So that'd be yesterday?
Yeah, roughly. But it was the middle of the night. We can go to my neighbors, and I could still show you where we was in his back kitchen door and shot out of the back kitchen door into the ground, and it blew a hole in the dirt.
Your neighbor was with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Which neighbor are we talking about?
If you're looking at my house, it'd be the ones on the left. They're Cuban, and I don't think that they're even really legal yet.
Okay.
But it's kind of always been something like they've never really had guns, and I go over there and usually shoot off a couple rounds in the backyard when we get something new.
Okay. Why don't you shoot them off in your backyard?
Truthfully, it's kind of uh, like a show it off thing.
Okay.
It's they think it's cool. Me and the old lady usually go there and just, I mean, the only word I can think of is stunt. Like, you know, it's like she would walk over there and have a gun on her hip, and, you know, or
Yeah. How many guns do you guys have in the house?
I want to say there's 2 revolvers that don't work. The revolver that shot her, and then a shotgun that don't work.
So only one operable gun?
That I know of, yeah.
And where's the other 2 revolvers and the shotgun?
They was in the gun locker with a stab-proof vest.
Where's that at?
It would be in the basement.
Does that lock or have a lock on it?
Yes.
Do you know where the keys are at?
And I want to say an officer at my house grabbed the keys.
What do the keys look like?
It's just one key, and I mean, it just looks like a regular house door key, but it's got black plastic on the handle part.
Okay. What about the key to that gun box that has the tattoo gun?
That's different keys.
Do you know where the keys are to it?
Yeah,
Where are those keys at?
they would be on it's an all black keychain that it's got like a little rope thing with skulls on it that hangs off. There's 2 car keys and 2 car key fobs.
Even if Hawk's story were true, having an unsecured firearm in a home with children would still land him multiple criminal charges.
That go to the different cars. And then there's real small keys that are no bigger than an inch that go to the green lock.
Okay.
There's 2 of them that are identical.
So, what's the last thing you remember doing with this gun last night before you guys went to bed or fell asleep?
Can't even remember. I remember I was next door. We'd shot it out of their back door.
Do you know how many shots you fired over there?
1.
Okay.
It was just to make sure that it worked.
Okay.
And then after that, I want to say that I went back home and set it on the table.
Do you know if it was fully loaded or?
It had rounds in it, but it wasn't full. I know there was 1 missing, not counting the one I shot.
Okay.
And when I say the one that I shot, I mean as in regards of out back of my neighbors. So that when I went back home, there was 2 shots that was missing out of it, and that was because one was never in the gun.
Okay, so this would be 2 empty cylinders, basically, or spots out of the 6 shots.
Yeah.
1 fired and 1 empty.
Yes, and they're not the right bullets in the gun. They're from a .38 special. I just found the bullets. If you look in my locker in the gun safe in the basement, there's bullets that are multiple different calibers that we don't have the gun to. That it was kind of like if a friend had the bullets, we would buy them in regards to if we find this gun, since ammo is hard to get. We was trying to stock up on anything just in case the government did go downhill, and it was every man for theirself.
So again, you came back over from the neighbors, you fired the gun, and what did you do with it? You said you think you laid it on the
I
table?
want to say that I laid it. If the front door is where he's sitting, the couch by the separating wall. There's the table in the middle of the room, and then there's the table right here in the corner. It would have been right there.
Hawk described falling asleep on the couch and waking up to find jelly on the floor. It paints a picture of chaos, but is it the whole truth?
Do you know how in any way that gun would have gotten onto the couch with the covers? Or the blankets?
Not offhand. I know when I went to bed there wasn't even a blanket on me. I remember waking up and I had to take a piss, and I remember waking up and being covered up, and she wouldn't lay on the couch with me for some reason. She was laid on the floor next to me with a blanket and pillow, like she made a bed on the floor. And I remember I woke up sometime, I don't even remember when I woke up, and I told her to get on the couch with me, that if I accidentally stepped on her because I had to hurry up and take a piss, then it wasn't on purpose. And when I came back, she was on the couch, but wasn't laying down. So I stretched back out, and I fell back asleep. The next time I woke up, she was laid back on the floor again, on the pallet that she had made.
When you woke up today, 3:30 or whatever, did you ever see the gun? Did you see the gun anywhere today?
No.
You said you guys were up cleaning it. She was cleaning.
No, to the extent of cleaning was me getting up, going upstairs to the bathroom, starting my shower water. She came in, started pooping, and at that point, I was joking with her about the smell, so I grabbed my towel and clothes and went next door and took a shower. By the time I came back, she was the one that had started the cleaning and had started making phone calls like every other day. You know, we'd call the caseworker, we'd try to talk to the kids, and so on. Or she was calling work to try and figure out her hours because she's been having problems with them giving her hours, and so on. And I came back in from next door and made me a bowl of cereal. And I ended up eating the bowl of cereal, and we was still just sitting down at that point.
And you never saw the gun anywhere?
No. I mean, I can try to repicture it in my head, but I still don't see it anywhere. Even when I think back to last night, all I can remember is sitting on the table.
Okay. Explain to me again, go through again what she was doing when the gun went off.
She was bundling all the blankets on the couch together.
Hawk claimed Jelly unknowingly bundled the gun with the blankets, then the shot rang out. She never saw it coming, and never had a chance to react.
And kind of like just bundled up, scooping them in her arm.
Yeah. That was it. She was just grabbing all the blankets.
What type of blankets are we talking about?
It's a big comforter set.
How many blankets were on the couch?
I want to say at least 2.
What color? What type of material? I mean,
silky material, purple, white.
real quick for me here, just kind of show me what she was doing. Say, for example, this is that couch, okay? This is the couch. That's the wall that's separating your house and your mom's house. The door's over here, correct?
Right.
There's a couch right over here.
Yeah.
But the box that has the tattoo stuff in it's over here, correct?
Yeah.
There's a table here between the two, is that right?
Yeah, there's a camo table in the middle of the room.
Yeah, so just kind of demonstrate to me as she's at the couch, the way she's facing, what she's doing, how she scoops these up when the gun goes off.
She was kind of more up on the end of this side of the couch, where like my head would have been, and she was throwing the pillows back up because there's big brown pillows that go on the couch. She was throwing them back up towards that side, and she'd scraped like she was bringing the blanket this way, and she'd turn around and look at me because I was, making jokes with as in maybe I wasn't done laying down, and she came over and started scooping the blanket up this way, and when she grabbed it like that, it was like she started to turn around, and then I heard the bang, and I was in the dining
So
room.
she just like basically scooped the blankets up,
Like, it
so
was,
her arms are underneath the
yeah,
blankets.
it was like she balled the blankets up, and I started walking back towards the kitchen, and that was
Where are her arms at?
her arms would have been up under all the blankets.
So they're down here holding all the blankets in this area, kind of
Yeah.
pinned against her chest, basically.
Yes, and literally, I'd seen her start scooping the blankets up, and at that point, I was walking back through the doorway towards the kitchen area, because our back door don't always shut, and I was walking back that way because you could feel it draft through the whole house, and I mean it's like it's fragmented. All I can remember is her grabbing the blankets and then hearing the boom, and when I got in there, I seen her drop, and then you could see the gun, and I grabbed the gun and threw it to the other couch. And
Where was the gun?
As police asked him to reenact the scene, Hawk moved like it was routine. But every motion, every word, was being weighed against forensic evidence.
the gun was sitting on the couch, and at that point, she, like, I don't want to sit on your table or nothing,
That's fine.
but at that point, she was sitting on the couch like this, and the gun would have been beside her. I grabbed the gun, I threw it to the other couch.
Where were all the blankets at?
It was kind of under her, as if she had set him back down and sat on top of him.
Okay. All right. Have a seat back in the chair.
Sorry.
You're fine. Were you guys arguing today at all about money?
We mentioned getting the rent paid because she delays everything she does. She don't like to pay stuff on time. I'm more the type, I'd rather pay it on time so that we have a grace period if we don't have the money. I wouldn't necessarily say we was arguing.
Hawk's reenactment is like a bad script. Scooping blankets and a gun just goes off. That .357 doesn't fire by accident. It's heavy, deliberate. The bullet's path straight through Jelly's shoulder to the floor screams intent. My heart aches for her, folding laundry 1 minute, gone the next. Those kids, already with CPS, lost their mom in a split second. Hawk's tears feel hollow. When the forensics don't lie, the detectives are done with his excuses. And so am I. Let's watch this story collapse as they push him to face the truth.
She needs to grow up a little bit and learn how to pay her bills on time. That was it. We don't have money issues though. I literally just prior to that, when I got out of the shower next door, I handed my grandma a $50 bill to put on my sister's books in prison. Like we don't have issues with money, and that was one reason why I never understood why she would wait to pay a bill. But no, we didn't argue to that extent about it. It's not like we're behind on a single bill or anything like that. No, we never really argued much.
So you stated this, so I'm correct. She's up here at the head of the couch. She's kind of tossed the pillows and she scoops up the blankets and she stands and she starts to turn this way. When you hear the shot,
She had started to turn around, and at that point, I was walking out of the room.
so you're going this way and back toward the kitchen.
Right. And I get not even 5 steps, and I hear boom. And as soon as I hear that, I turn back around, and she was already reseated.
After the gunshot, Jelly tried to get up. Hawk held her, applying pressure to the wound. But no instinct could undo the damage or erase what had been done.
Halfway on the couch. and was starting like she was trying to get back up. And that was, as I was coming in the room, I seen the revolver. I threw it to the other couch, and she was still trying to get back up. So I had helped her up. I knew something told me I knew to hold pressure and check for an exit hole. When I looked, I didn't see nothing, but it was hard to tell while keeping pressure on her shoulder area.
Where did you see where she was struck at?
She was struck right here.
Okay. Did you see any exit wounds on her back at all or anything? Anywhere?
I thought I did, but I'm not sure.
What did you think you saw an exit wound?
Honestly, it looked like there was blood on her back in the same spot, but I couldn't make out if that was from where I tried to apply pressure and then looked. I couldn't make that out. All I knew is that for a fact it went in right there. Whether she was trying to get in a car, I'm not sure. I just know she was going towards the door when I helped her back up and was applying pressure on her shoulder. She was going towards the door, so I followed her while screaming for my grandmother.
What was she doing just prior to going over to the couch to scoop up the blankets? Were you guys talking? Was she saying anything?
Prior to that?
Yeah, as she walks over to the couch, just tossing the pillows and scoops up the blankets. Is she saying anything to you? Are you guys saying anything? Is she talking? Is she whistling, singing?
Prior to that, I mean, I just handed her my wallet, and I had all my money in it, and I told her, there's $220, not counting the $50 that I gave Grandma. And, you know, it was kind of like any other day. Okay, well, you know, we can pay this, or, I mean, it was kind of just like a normal day. We don't have a way to play music. There's a radio in the living room, but it don't work. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we kind of just...
Why did you give her your wallet?
Because I had all the cash.
Again, you guys weren't fighting about money?
No.
Arguing about money?
No. She had said something about how she had made a payment towards the rent, like of $100 or something. Mm-hmm. So I'd give her my wallet basically I stated the difference that was owed still to the payment was in my wallet. And she said that she didn't need it and set my wallet back up by the TV. Yeah. And after that, I grabbed it, started walking through the back of towards the back of the house again, and that was when I heard it.
Hawk insisted it was an accident, but that type of revolver doesn't fire easily, and the more he explained, the more doubt filled the room.
So you fired that handgun, correct?
The night before.
Okay. How tough is that trigger pull?
It's not.
Not at all?
Yeah.
I mean, did you cock it first? Or did you full draw?
When I shot it out of the neighbors, it had to be cocked.
What do you mean by had to be cocked? You had to...
Yeah, I had to pull the hammer back when I had fired it next door, yes.
So that you kind of pull it back, click it, and then pull the trigger, or something else?
Yes.
To get it to drop?
Yes.
Is that because that's the only way it would work, or is this because the trigger squeeze was so hard?
I'm not sure, honestly.
How do you think that gun went off? Because generally those, especially those large revolvers like that, have a pretty significant...
Truthfully, I don't know. The only thing I can think is it got knocked onto the couch while I was asleep, or I mean somehow the hammer maybe got halfway pulled back when she was grabbing the blankets, but not enough to lock, and then like slipped and hit I don't know. All I know is I'm losing the love of my life and the mother of my children.
Well, Sunday, Kendall, it's pretty damn hard for those revolvers to go off by themselves by accident.
I know.
Because it is a pretty significant trigger pull usually.
No.
No, I haven't seen your gun per se. We haven't tested it, which that's one thing we'll do. We'll test the trigger pull. It's also pretty hard. I mean, like I said, you've shot it. You know what I'm talking about. It's pretty hard to get that hammer pulled back by catching on something if you're just scooping it with the op. All right.
No, I agree.
No,
I definitely do agree with you that it's not easy to just fire one of them guns. I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I'm big in my life is gun safety because I've lost multiple of my relatives to this. My cousin Mikey Rush shot himself in the head on accident years before that. Andy Rush, he got shot in the head cleaning a gun. And I just, one thing that I've always been big on is gun safety because of the relatives I've lost. And I know that the way this is all played out, I know it looks like I did it.
Did you shoot her?
I didn't. No.
Did she shoot herself intentionally?
I want to say no.
I mean, you saw what happened. Did she grab the gun and put it to her chest and pull the trigger?
Not that I see of, no. I'm not saying it. I know for a fact she didn't do that, but I'm saying I know for a fact that when I was turning out of that room, all I seen was her grabbing the blankets off the couch.
The bullet entered through her shoulder, yet was found near the floorboard, showing a steep downward angle. That doesn't align with his blanket grab story.
And that was the last that I seen of her, but she wasn't forward out.
She was removed from the scene before I got out there. But I was told that she did have an exit wound. It was in her lower back. Do you have any idea how her scooping the blankets up and
No,
the bullet going in down here could come out of her lower back?
I don't. No.
I don't either.
I won't say that I'm a professional with guns, and I won't say that I know how they work to that extent. But
I'm telling you, it's pretty unusual.
what I will say is that woman was the love of my life and the mother of my children, and we are currently fighting CPS to get our children back.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I want is to lose my children or to lose the love of my life. And I know for a fact on everything in my life that I did not shoot her.
Tell me what happened with this incident back in 2017 over on Andrews, when you got mad at your girlfriend and fired several rounds into the fire pit in the backyard.
That wasn't what had went on.
The what?
That wasn't what had went on.
I'm sorry, it was Nassau, baby, right?
It was at my previous address at 19 Andrews.
19 Andrews. So what happened? That's what you told the officers.
I lived alone, and truthfully, I was selling drugs at the time, and I was trying to tell the officer anything I could to get out of the predicament. If you look further into the case, you could see that I'd done house arrest. I'd done multiple programs, and that was why I told my probation officer to send me up to prison back in September, and then I got out in March, was so that I could get past that and get that done within my life. I was caught with multiple drugs. I had over a pound of drugs on me at that point in time, but the only thing that I ever got charged with was a 1/4 ounce of cocaine. There was nobody in my house. The police went in my house and even inspected my property that same day. Wasn't nobody there.
The bullet entered through her shoulder, yet was found near the floorboard, showing a steep downward angle. That doesn't align with his blanket grab story.
So when you told the officers that you got into it with your girlfriend and you went outside and fired several rounds in the fire pit, that wasn't true?
I did say that I got into it with my girlfriend, but I didn't fire at nobody. I'd fired into the ground.
Yeah, into the fire pit, right?
Into,
or around the fire pit.
Yes, out of my vehicle. That has been years ago, and that's a different time period in my life.
It was 2017, that's 3 years ago.
It was more than 3 years ago, and I promise you that because I did 2 years on probation before 2017.
March 7th, 2017 is when it was.
I realized this.
That's 3 years ago.
I know.
Maybe 3 years or 4 years and a couple months.
Yeah.
You know you're not supposed to have guns, right?
I know.
Yeah, you're stockpiling guns?
It was something that I didn't see a problem with it, with the way she had laid it out, is if the government was to crash, we're going to need something to protect our children. I couldn't turn that down. I couldn't deny that. I got my 65-year-old elderly grandmother next door with my mother, and I'm the only male in the entire household. I can't sit here and tell them all that I can protect all of you on my own, including all of the children on my own. There's no way that I could do that. And when she came to me and said that she wanted something that said that she knew she was going to be safe, I was all about it. She had even started to take a class down at Point Blank shooting range. She was scheduled to start next month to get her CCW.
I'll tell you, Kendall, I have a very hard time buying your story, man.
I know. Honestly,
The evidence isn't matching up with what you're saying happened.
I know, but there's nothing else that I could say besides what had happened.
Because let me tell you this. You know where she was shot, right?
She was shot in her shoulder. Yeah, it's right here.
You know where the bullet was recovered?
No, I don't.
Damn near in the floorboard. That's how much a downward trajectory there was.
Confronted with forensics, Hawk couldn't explain the gun's downward trajectory.
The bullet's trajectory rips Hawk's story to shreds. No burn marks, no accident, just a cold, hard truth he can't dodge. His pivot to suicide is desperate, insulting Jelly's memory. She was fighting for her kids, not giving up. Those kids are the real victims, left with nothing but his lies. Hawk's sobs don't move me when blood's on his hands and drugs cloud his story. The detectives are relentless, and you can feel the walls closing in. This isn't just a case, it's a family destroyed. Let's see how Hawk crumbles as the evidence traps him in his own words.
Your right hand there, you've got like some marks on your knuckles there, your middle finger.
That's blood.
Is that blood?
Yeah, it's
Not
blood.
like a scrape or anything?
No,
Is that right there?
There's blood there.
Well, there might be blood, but it looked like you kind of scraped your knuckles
Yeah.
or something from here.
Dried blood on his hands, dirt on his knees. Hawk claimed it was from trying to save her. But to the detective, they looked like traces from a staged scene.
That doesn't look like, someone else's blood. That's
That right there on top, right here. What's that?
That's blood.
That's just dry blood?
Yeah, from when I was trying to get her out of the house.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it looked like, an older scrape to me.
And you also said you took a shower, but your hands look pretty dirty. How'd your hands get so dirty?
Just like how my knees get so dirty.
And how was that?
This is strictly from falling on the ground after the police mandatorily made me move.
Okay.
There's blood right here on me. There's blood here on me. There's blood all over right here on me from where I was trying to help her out of the house. She wanted out of the house. I was trying to help her out of the house. I didn't know what else to do at this point. All I know is that she had a hole in her chest. There was nothing I could do besides trying to apply pressure and call the law. And it seemed like forever that it even took someone to get there. But
So back to the fingers. I don't know how that happened.
there's no scratch there.
There's
I promise you, if we wipe this blood off right now and wipe that dirt off from outside, there's no scratches. I know this for a fact. I have a bunch of scar tissue on my hand from being in that house fire. That's what all this is from. I was in a house fire, and that should be on record too.
All right. You say you bought the gun from her manager, Adrian,
Yeah,
And you paid $250 for it, right?
Yeah.
And you did that last night, correct?
It was either last night or the night before. I know that we've been asleep for the majority of the day. I know, like I said, we woke up around 3:34.
You guys using anything?
Huh?
You guys using anything?
Yeah.
What are you using?
Meth and marijuana.
When's the last time you used meth?
The day before yesterday.
You have any in the house?
No. No, I had some weed and it was in my pocket. And I'd given it to an officer as soon as I got in there. There was maybe a part of a blunt on the table.
You guys both using?
Yeah.
Now, you said last night that
Hawk painted himself as a victim, then admitted they both used meth and weed. His tale of a normal day started unraveling with the smallest details.
after you shot the gun, you put it on the table next to the couch, correct?
That I recall, yes.
Is that what you recall?
And after that, I was asleep.
Okay.
And I know that when I had fallen asleep, I was using one of the bigger pillows for a blanket. And when I woke up sometime throughout the night or throughout the day, because I was asleep most of the day, I know that when I'd woken up, she was on a pallet next to me on the floor. And I'd said something to her because I didn't want to step on her when I was getting ready to go take a piss.
Why did Jelly make a pallet on the floor?
That's I honestly I don't know. It's something that she would frequently do. It's I mean like if if we made dinner, she would make everybody else's plate before her own. If there was dirty laundry, she would make sure that everybody else's clothes got washed before her own. It didn't matter what it was, anything that involved anybody else in this world, no matter what, anybody and everybody came before she. If you was sitting on a couch and she thought that her sitting next to you would make you uncomfortable, she wouldn't sit next to you. I mean, you can go next door and ask my mother and ask my grandmother. She would do anything in the world to just please.
Why didn't she just sleep on the other couch?
Because that was her way of still being able to sleep next to me. I don't know. And I would tell her to get on the couch with me. I don't know. I know that she would go out of her way to try and make somebody else more comfortable or happier. And she would always assume that she was bothering somebody. And I mean, if I was on the front porch smoking a cigarette, she would walk out there and I would simply turn around and acknowledge that she walked out. She would say, "Oh, my bad," and da da da. I mean, just anything. She always felt like she was doing something wrong, and I never understood that. And my mom, my grandma, my sister, anybody can tell you that her biggest fault and her only fault was assuming she was always doing something wrong.
He claimed Jelly always put others first, but no one could explain why she chose to sleep on the floor when there was an empty couch right next to her.
How long have you been thinking about buying that gun for $250?
Not at all. I never even knew about it till the night we got it.
How'd that come about?
We was going to sell a gun. We'd sold Adrian a gun. In the process, a buddy of his pulled that one out. She had said she liked it. And that was when the $250 that we had gotten for the other gun, I just handed straight back to him. and we'd left with that gun.
What kind of gun did you sell?
Another 9.
You said
What-
another 9?
What brand?
It was a 9mm Taurus.
Where did that gun come from?
Some kid down at the Dayton Twin Towers. Truthfully, I'd only bought it because the kid couldn't have been no older than 17 or 18 years old. And he has other guns. I didn't feel like that kid needed that gun, so I bought it.
If you're stockpiling weapons for the collapse of the government, you think it's smart to give up a high-capacity 9mm for a 6-shot revolver?
No,
Me either.
but I also know that with our kids, before we lost the kids, one of the boys had gotten a hold of a gun and shot it in the basement. And if you look in the gun safe and you open the door, in the bottom of it, there's a metal tube that's a gun cleaning kit. Mm-hmm. One of the boys had shot the gun cleaning kit. There's a hole in the side of it. I have no reason to lie at all. And I know that I'll probably never see my children again. But the only thing I can do right now is honest.
Here's the thing, kind of like what Detective House was saying. I mean, what you're describing really does not match her injury. Okay?
I hear what you're saying.
And, even you admit that, the reason that she had the revolver was because it's harder to shoot.
Yeah.
So an accidental thing like this would be extremely unlikely.
Yeah, but it's not impossible. And I'm not saying that it's impossible. All I am saying is that I didn't shoot the love of my life. And I know that you guys don't believe me.
I don't think there was anything deliberate here. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't think that you got up this morning and said, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to murder Jelly. I don't think you said that. But there's a problem when she has injuries that don't match how you're saying this took place.
I don't know how it took place. All I know is that she was picking the blankets up in the living room. And I turned around to hear a bang. That's all I know.
Well, I think that she probably was picking up blankets. I think that part's probably true.
You guys can interrogate me all you want, but I'm the one that's at a loss here today.
Not doubting that either.
She's got 5 children that are lost.
I know. Trust me, I know this.
You want us to believe something that's pretty damn unbelievable.
It's unbelievable to me. That's what you don't realize. As much as you guys don't want to believe it, I don't want to believe this either.
I want to believe whatever the truth is.
Like I said, you want us to believe something that's unbelievable. We can't. How can we believe that story?
That's all I know.
There's no way her hands are down here scooping up blankets, and she's shot up here, and it comes out her lower back and goes into the baseboard. That's an impossibility.
So then you're telling me that my fiancee's still alive right now?
No, she's dead. That's not an impossibility.
The bullet traveled from her shoulder, exited her lower back, and lodged in the floor. The downward angle made it clear. Hawk's version of events was impossible.
I can't.
The impossibility is the angle in the shot. That's the impossibility from what you described.
I can't explain something that I don't know.
You said yesterday you had to cock the damn gun.
Yeah, I
Pull the
did.
trigger.
I did just shoot it out of my neighbor's back door.
How's that gun go off when you're scooping up a blanket? Even if her finger got on the trigger.
I don't know.
If her finger was on the trigger, I bet you she couldn't pull the trigger.
I don't know. And I'll probably die, and nobody will ever believe me. I guess that's what it's going to have to be, because it is.
Like I
it's
said,
an
it's a pretty unbelievable story right now.
it's unbelievable to me that we just woke up this morning and it just I don't know. I don't have words for for what happened. I can't explain something that
So if somebody said you guys were arguing over money today, that would be a misperceived. You weren't really arguing. You were just, having a discussion over money? But you weren't arguing over money today?
we wasn't arguing over no money today. We go every day. We wake up. We discuss what bills are to be paid or how long we have to pay a bill. And then it's on to the next thing as call a caseworker.
When did you give her your wallet?
I give her my wallet every day. She makes sure that she pays the bills out of her money. And if there's ever something that she needs extra,
You guys
she
have
takes
money
it.
coming in every day?
Me, yes, I do.
How do you get money?
I run my own business.
What do you do?
I sell cars, I sell houses, I flip cars and I flip houses. If you go to my house right now, every car.
When's the last time you flipped a house?
The last time I flipped a house?
Mhm.
The house that we're in now. And my mother and my grandmother pay us $450 a month for rent.
Okay. When did they pay you last?
We were supposed to get paid by them earlier today or yesterday. I don't know if my fiancée had gotten the money. I know just last night I went and picked up $250 for car parts, and I can show you proof of that.
Picked up $250 from who?
I don't know. He saved in my phone as scrap buyer, and he bought a catalytic converter that I got off of a beat up truck out back. The catalytic converter had a hole in it. It was rusted out. That's the truck that's sitting out back in the alley right now. I was going to take because I got 200 or almost 250 for there was two parts of a catalytic converter, and it cost me roughly $80 to go buy a new one. That's a win-win situation when I can put a new one on for less than I can scrap the other one for.
Hawk claimed to flip cars and houses for a living, but dodged specifics when asked about income. A messy life, like the story he was trying to sell.
I got multiple vehicles that I legally own.
Some simple question. Were you guys arguing over money today?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. But there was a discussion over money today?
There's a discussion over money every day.
About you wanted her to pay something and she...
No. As in, every day, no matter what, we would wake up.
It's not talking about every day, let's talk about today.
No, today is no different than every other day.
No, it is different. Why are you talking about today? What was the money issue about today?
There was no money issue.
You said there was.
It's never an issue about money. It's whether a bill gets paid on time or when do we see the kids next. But it's never an issue. It's us waking up in the morning and figuring out what we are to do today. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do?
I go to work.
Okay. Well, we wake up in the morning, the first thing we do is we go to work. I'm sorry that I run my own business and I can work from home. I'm sorry that she was like my financial advisor, my accountant, my secretary. She basically did anything that I needed for my business. I was nothing but the mule. I work, I do the labor, I do the physical, everything. She would handle the books, the upkeep, the money owed out, the bills owed out. I would wake up every morning and I would ask her, what do we need today? If we're good today, then let's sit back, let's go out to eat, let's do this or let's do that.
Let's go get high.
Yep, fuck, let's go get high too. That was it too.
Mm-hmm.
If there was days that we didn't owe no money out, you're damn right, we'd sit at home and we'd get high. We've already lost our kids. That was the one way that we was able to numb our pain. I'm not gonna lie.
Kids.
I'm not gonna lie about it. We would get high because our previous caseworker.
You know what I can say? The only thing I can say is thank God for children's services.
Yeah.
Thank God that those kids weren't in that house today.
I know.
All right. So we're going to go across the hallway. If you want to talk to us some more later, that's up to you. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
I mean,
Let's go.
I still want to talk to you guys now, but you
Well,
guys.
we're going to go out to your house. We got to look and see some of the stuff that you told us. All right? See if it makes sense or if it doesn't make sense.
Thank God the kids weren't home, Hawk muttered. His quiet admission that drugs were how they numbed the pain was also the reason they'd already lost everything.
Well, you're that phone. Yeah. All right, Kendall. We went out to your house real quick. Looked at some stuff. Before we left, you mentioned that you still want to talk to us some more, but you've been sitting here for a little bit, so you still want to continue to talk to us?
I mean, yeah, but at this point, I don't feel there's nothing more that I can say that I haven't already said.
All right. Well, that's up to you. Again, remember we went over your rights, okay?
Yeah.
All these rights still apply. Again, I'll go over them real quick. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to make any statements or answer any questions.
You're fine. I
I understand that, but anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you do not have the money to hire a lawyer appointed by the court, or a lawyer from the public defender's office will be provided to you before and during questioning without any cost to you. And also, if you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. All right? Remember all those rights? Okay, again, like I said, all those rights are still in effect. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was we were talking about money before we left. You said you'd gone over and you'd given your mother or your grandmother money?
My grandma.
Mm-hmm. And Judy Robinson, is that your grandmother or is that your mother?
Grandma.
That's your grandma? Yeah, this is a written statement that your grandmother had done. Okay? I'm going to read it to you as best I can here. It says, Kendall came over here to take a shower. They had been cleaning, he said, and she had sprayed something in bathroom. He has asthma and said he couldn't breathe, so he came over here to bathe. He went back home, and shortly after she called to see if I had some money to help pay their tax money on house. We only talked maybe 5 minutes, then I was...
Grandma's statement confirmed it. Remy called to ask for help paying house taxes just minutes before the shot. One moment, planning bills. The next, tragedy struck.
doing puzzle on phone, and I heard him hollering, "Mama." I came down, and she was on the porch, and he had a towel and was holding it over the wound. He was calling 911 and trying to stop the bleeding. I then took the phone and talked to them until the police arrived. He just said she picked the gun up and it went off. All right, that's her statement. So why is she saying that she called over asking for money to help pay for the taxes on the house?
Because, like I said, where they pay us $450 on rent, we try to make sure that we pay the taxes before the 15th. She was just calling to see that if they had anything towards it, that way once we paid it, we wouldn't be broke. We had enough to pay it because I had just given my grandma $50 to put on my sister's books, but we collect from them that we don't end up flat broke in the end. She said she sprayed something in the bathroom.
Okay, we went out to your house. Let's see. This is some photographs that was taken from your house here. This is the baseboard behind the couch. That's where the bullet was dug out of. Okay? This is a dowel rod that's going through the bullet, where it goes through the back of the couch, out the back of the couch, and into that hole in the wall. And that shows you the trajectory of the bullet. And here you can see Detective Geiger sitting on the couch. This one you can see me standing in front of him with my finger pointed like a gun, where you can see how it goes through. Now, I'm not saying this is exact, but it gives you an idea of the trajectory of this bullet.
I do understand that that is a possibility of one of the ways, but
I'm just trying to figure out how the way you explained she picked up this blanket and where she's hit in the upper left chest and an exit wound down somewhere in her lower back and the bullet being recovered under there. How is that possible?
like I said before you left, so honestly, I don't know. All I know is that she was picking the stuff up off the couch as I was walking out of the room.
The bullet didn't just tear through Remy, it ripped through fabric, walls, and lies. No burn marks, no accident, only a deliberate and deadly trajectory.
I can't explain the unexplainable.
Well, I can tell you we did find...
There's things that I don't know.
We did find the blanket. There was the white blanket and there's like the purple one.
Yeah.
The white blanket was on the couch. It looked like either she or somebody had been sitting on top of it, right where the bullet hole is. And you can see where a bullet went through that blanket, but the interesting thing is there's no burning on there. There's no stippling. You know what stippling is?
No.
When a gun is fired, the gunpowder that is in the casing ignites very rapidly. And that explosion is what causes the projectile to shoot down the barrel. All right? Well, there's portions of that superheated gunpowder that also come out the end of the barrel. And at close range to something, it actually sears or burns into it. It'll do your skin, clothing, things of that nature. If it's close enough to the skin, it'll actually char it or to a piece of clothing. And one of the things that we don't see anywhere on that blanket is stippling or charring, because it looks like that blanket was actually behind her, like she was sitting on that blanket when that gun went off. And the purple blanket, we don't see any defects to indicate that somehow the gun swooped up in this blanket and goes off. None of those things make sense the way you're saying it happened. None of them make sense.
Trust and believe that I agree that none of it makes sense.
Kendall, were you trying to kill her, or is this an accident?
No, I was not trying to kill her. And
So what happened?
all I know is
No, what happened? Let's knock off the bullshit.
I'm serious, sir.
That story, no, you can't be serious with that story.
Bullshit and just tell the truth. All you're doing is digging yourself a deeper fucking hole.
It's time to just man up, man.
I did.
Do what?
I did shoot her.
You did shoot her?
Why?
No, I did. You can put words in my mouth all you
No,
want.
it sounded to me like you just said did twice.
No, I said I didn't. I did not shoot my life. I did not shoot my fiancée, the mother of my child. I did not shoot her.
Then who did?
Nobody else was there.
I know. And the way you're saying it happened is not possible. There is one explanation.
As his story collapsed, Hawk reached for any explanation: suicide, accident, chance. But even he admitted, I can't believe what just happened.
I don't know if that's what she did. I'm saying she was picking stuff up. I'm saying she was picking stuff up, and when I went to walk into the other room, I heard a bang. I don't know if she mentally, physically, purposely shot herself, or if the gun had went off. I don't know. All I know is that our children now don't have a mother, and everything is going to somehow get pinned on me because I was the only other person there. There's nothing else I can say. I don't know what else to say.
You can start with the truth.
I'm telling you guys the truth.
No.
When was the last time you saw her handle that gun?
Last night,
Where was that at?
in the living room,
Where was she at and where was the gun at?
she was over on the other couch, and the gun was in her hand. She was sitting there spinning the spindle.
What else was she doing with it?
That was it.
Was it loaded at that time?
Yes. She was just spinning the spindle. Just spinning it over and over. Because she could hit it once and it'd go. And she was just sitting there spinning it while.
How was she doing that? Did she have the cylinder popped out? Was the cylinder still in?
It was still in.
That's the last time you saw the gun, or that's the last time you saw her with it?
No, that was the last time I physically saw her with it.
Did you handle the gun after that?
No. I was already on the couch. I was laying down. I was watching TV. We was in the middle of smoking a blunt, and I fell asleep.
How do you think it would have been possible that the gun got into the blankets on the couch where you were sleeping?
I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can think is possibly when I got up to take a piss, I'd thrown the blanket to the side. I didn't think that I'd thrown it on the table. The only thing I can think of is when I came back from taking a piss in the middle of the night and grabbed the blanket and covered back up. And I'm not even sure of that. I don't know. I'm telling you guys literally what I do know. And I know it don't make no difference because you don't believe me, but
I don't care what happens to me anymore. Hawk finally gave in, the truth closing in like invisible handcuffs. The woman he called his love was now only memory.
that's
It doesn't matter simply not believing you. It's a matter of an unbelievable story. You know, if you came down here and told us something plausible, we might believe it.
I know.
That story is just not believable.
I can't believe it. Not even me, as a person that witnessed. I myself can't believe it. And I was there. Now I know that don't say much, but there's not words for how unbelievable it really is. I realize that it is unbelievable. I realize it is impossible to believe something so absurd. And there's nothing.
Yeah, that's what you want us to believe, right? You want us to believe that story, right?
I don't really care what you guys believe now. I just know that from this day on, the love of my life is gone. There's not much more to life now. I don't really care what happens to me at this point.
Yeah, I've heard that song and dance before.
Yeah, I believe you have.
And you might as well just be honest about it. Because the story you're telling us is not honest. And you and I both know it.
Believe what you want to believe.
You believe what the facts show us.
We gotta believe what the facts are.
And they ain't the way you're telling it.
People lie.
People lie because they're scared.
Mhm.
Will lie to protect themselves.
I have no reason to be scared. I've already lost my children. I've already basically lost my family. I've lost the woman I've loved. I don't really have much left to lose.
What about your freedom?
I'm not free. If you ask my grandmother, she'll tell you multiple times I said it was better off in prison because I had less to worry about. I didn't have bills. I didn't have none of that.
Yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with freedom.
I
That's just got a matter of wanting to go out and
no,
take care of yourself as opposed to have somebody else take care of you.
I understand that.
Pressed to his limits, Hawk blamed lost freedom and loved ones. But it was that very sense of loss that may have driven him to act, because to him there was nothing left to lose.
But what is freedom if you don't have nobody to enjoy it with? Really?
Well, you got an opportunity to go out and meet somebody else and to find somebody else. You have all those opportunities.
Yeah.
And let's not sit here and play this melancholy boo-hoo me. You know, you're giving us a ridiculous story. That's an absolutely ridiculous story.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to deny that you guys were arguing about money. Even when your own grandmother said she's calling over asking for money to pay for the taxes on the house.
Ask my grandma.
Do we make this stuff up?
We ask her every day for money, and
Okay.
and it's okay. Today she might say she didn't make it to the bank. Tomorrow it's kind of
Why are you asking grandma for money every day?
because grandma and my mom
Mm-hmm.
are supposed to give us $450 a month for rent. They play it off. They push it off. They postpone it. So we kind of have to stay on top of them.
Who are you
That's-
paying this rent to?
Well, we pay the city taxes on the property. We don't pay rent. They pay us rent because they live in mine and my fiance's house. The gig was me and Angelica bought the house. My mom and my grandmother were giving us $450 a month towards their rent. Now we would take their rent and go pay our property taxes with it. That way we could save up our money and invest towards another property or another vehicle. That's why we have 13 something cars at home.
What are your property taxes?
I want to say they're like $439 or something. I mean they're cheap. They're I want to say $489 at most. I truthfully I don't even know. I know they're under 500. And I know that last month we didn't get them paid until the very last day of the month, and that was on our own choice.
So you're paying them every month?
Yeah, we bought the house. We got the property on a quick claim deed.
Mm-hmm.
We gave the owner $1,000. Come to find out, 2 or 3 weeks from the time we bought the house, it was due to be sold on a foreclosure list. As in, like, not we have this time to no nothing. It was on this date. Somebody else will own our house and everything in it.
Under pressure, Hawk floated the idea of suicide. But every scene detail, from bullet angle to blanket placement, tore that theory to pieces.
And as we go downtown and pay $2,011 to the courts, and then it was like 4 or 6,000, or no, it's 5 to 6,000 on the back payment or back taxes. Well, I went down there with around $8,000, and the lady, because we had to have 20% down on the back taxes of 21,800. We had to have 20% of that down. Well, the lady let me be a little bit short on that, as long as we paid the $2,011 to the courts. Well, we went down there and we paid that. She said she would start us out on a payment plan where it was either going to be $389 a month or $4 and some change a month, and it was going to be every month for the next 4 or every month for the next 5 years, depending on which payment plan she was able to get us on.
Okay.
Well, she got us on a 5-year payment plan, so I want to say it was the $489 for the next 5 years, or for the next 4 years. I'm not sure. I just know that right now, if you look it up, it's like 17,000 is what's left owed out. Everything else is paid up. But we would bug my grandma and, say, hey, it's the first, we want to get this paid. And then the second would come. Hey, it's the second, we want to get this paid. Hey, it's the third, we want to get this paid. And it would always get postponed and they would always blow us off. Me and my fiance would not argue about money. The only thing we would argue is I would tell her we need to make sure that they pay us in a reasonable amount of time. Other than that, that's it. We didn't have no other problems. Our only other issues, truthfully, was our drug usage that we had started upon losing the children. Other than that, I mean, like, we went out to eat at least once a week, mandatory, to nice places. We always reminded to treat ourselves. The kids, we just took them tablets last week. The week before that, I mean, like, we've even managed to spoil the kids, knowing that they're outside of our home, knowing that when they come home, they might not even have the things that we gave them, just because we knew it was something that they would enjoy. The tablets they could use to take pictures of the baby, learn how to walk. We didn't have financial issues really between us. It was the fact that my mom and my grandma can collect unemployment for all these months and get money each week for free and turn around and ask us where our money is when we work for our money. We didn't get unemployment. We had her weekly check and we had whatever money I was able to make throughout the week. And they could hound us, asking us where our money is, or asking us why do we need their rent money to be able to go pay our taxes.
He continued dodging, then grew emotional talking about his love for Rye. But true love doesn't fire a gun, and it doesn't leave a hole through someone's body.
And so on and so on, or how are we broke, and da 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 da. And the only thing we would ever argue about is with them saying, as in, it don't matter what we do with our money. The point is, you still owe us on rent. That was the gist of anything that we ever argued about, and it was never between me and her. It was between us and my mom and my grandma. Other than that, I mean, we didn't really have any arguments other than, oh well, we got fucking dirty laundry that needs done, or I'm the lazy asshole that hasn't finished painting the bathroom yet. I mean, it was normal day-to-day, normal life bickering. That's all it was. We never had an issue with money.
So what was different today?
I've been trying to figure that out. I have. And the only difference today was the fact that I went next door to take a shower because she blew the bathroom up. Other than that, it wasn't nothing different.
I mean, you agree, don't you, that it's not possible for a gun to shot her
I do agree.
and go that way, the way if she's picking up.
I
So that leaves one or two options. She shot herself or you shot her.
I mean, I want to agree with you.
So what was today that would make her shoot herself?
I don't know. I know she tried to do it previously, and that was when my grandma took her to the psych ward. My grandma said she was going to take her to work one day. She never made it to work. She made it to the psych ward.
It's kind of odd you're in the middle of cleaning up the room and tidying it up and everything's fine, and all of a sudden you just decide I'm going to end it.
We wasn't even awake a half hour. Literally, I mean, I didn't even get clothes ready when I went next door and took a shower. I went next door in what I was wearing, And quite frankly, I put the clothes back on. The same towel that I dried off with is the towel that I held on her when she was bleeding.
So this was a suicide, right?
I don't want to say that, but there's nothing else that I can add. I know it wasn't nobody else in the house but me and her.
She's responsible. She took her own life in the story, correct? Is that what this is?
It has to be.
It has to be.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
I can't live without her, Hawk said. But the detective knew grief doesn't invent an impossible story unless it's trying to hide guilt.
Because it wouldn't be that you did it. If that's the case, you tell us, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to live with myself any other way, no. It just don't make sense to me why she would kill herself when we had a good life.
Why'd you say you were going to kill yourself in the 911 call?
Huh?
In the 911 call, you said you was going to kill yourself.
Because we had a good life. I mean, I did. I told my grandma, I said if she don't make it, I might as well kill myself. Because there's things in life that you can't remake something that you've once had, or some things you only find once in a lifetime. I know that I'll never in my life find somebody else that was as good as she was to me. Ignored the fact that I had previous offenses. Ignored the fact that when I was in prison, she didn't question why I needed money on my books, or when I would walk out the front door and start my day for work, she wouldn't question where I was going. You just have a good day, and I mean that's all there was to it. And I know that I'll never find somebody that truthfully loves me the way she did.
So did she deserve what she got?
No. More than once, everybody in that house, no matter which side she was on, would always tell her that she deserves better than what she gives herself.
I'm talking about what she got tonight. She deserved that?
No, nobody deserves that.
Exactly. Nor would they then deserve somebody to come in here and say that they took their own life.
You're right, but as much as you can try to turn it on me, that's the only other thing it could have been is...
That's the only options, right? It was you or her. The accident thing, that's bullshit. That's just...
And if the accident is entire bullshit, then she killed herself. And as much as it hurts to say that, there's nothing else it could have been, because I was not even in the same room at the point of the time it happened.
You sure?
Yes. I was in the dining room where the table is, and if you was at my house, you know where that is.
So within a matter of a couple of feet from her.
Yeah.
If you were to take a polygraph on this, how do you think you'd do on it?
I'd pass. Depending on what questions you guys asked. Depending on if you guys are trying to set me up and ask
What
questions.
Do you think we should ask you?
I mean, outright. Did I purposely kill my wife? Did I intentionally shoot my wife? Did I shoot my wife? Those would be questions that could be asked that I know for a fact in the bottom of my heart that I did not do.
Did you accidentally shoot her?
No.
Because you keep saying purposely.
Purposely and intentionally. Something happened, Kendall?
No.
Again, because we're left with one of two things. This is either cold-blooded murder,
I realized that.
cold-blooded deliberate act, or this is an accident. I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, but the way you keep lying and spinning shit,
But I'm not
it
lying.
makes me wonder if this is a deliberate thing.
Okay.
Because we went from the last time you saw the gun, it was sitting on the table. Now it's the last time you saw the gun, she was spinning the spindle.
No,
And you
no,
fell asleep.
no,
That's
no.
what you
That's
just
where
said.
you're wrong. You said
That's what you just said.
you had
last
asked.
saw her spinning the spindle,
You had asked.
and you fell
The
asleep.
last time I seen the gun. The last time I seen the gun was on the table. Now you want to switch the words. You can switch the words all you want. He asked specifically, when was the last time I seen her with the gun? And my correct answer for that was when she was spinning the spindle. That was not the last time I seen the gun. The last time I seen her with the gun was when she was playing with it. But the very last time I seen the gun
When the story unraveled and he lost control, Hawk asked for a lawyer, but by then it was too late. The truth had already caught up with him.
was when it was on the table, next to where I fell asleep. You can try to put the story together how you want to put the story together, but if that's how you're going to do it, if you're going to switch up my words, then I do want an attorney present, because I'm not going to have you change my story on me. I know how it went down. You can word it however you want it to go down.
When did it get from her hands to the table?
It's all right, Kendall. We thought you were more of a man than that, buddy.
Take it how you want.
But, absolutely.
I know deep down that I've
I
been
know you do.
honest.
I know you do. You know deep down all the good
Am I
stuff.
staying in here?
No, you're going to jail.
That's fine. Do you want me to follow you out?
Nope. Officer's going to come in and put handcuffs on you.
Okay.
Go ahead, stand up and face that back wall.
Put your hands together like a frame. We're gonna walk downstairs. You good with him?
Yeah. Have them dress him in and bring your clothes back.
A lie might hide the truth for a few hours, but it can never protect you from justice forever. Kendall Hawk ultimately pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter with an added charge for possessing a firearm while under disability and was sentenced to 14 years in prison. No matter how painful it is, truth is the only thing that can truly free a soul.